Hi, I'm Lily.
I'm Molly.
And I'm Alex, and welcome to Crash Course.
Today we're going to talk about a major turning point in history, the Industrial Revolution, which led to many great advantages in technology and education in our modern world.
The Industrial Revolution began in the mid-1800s in Britain and expanded all the way to the United States. The major invention that powered the Industrial Revolution was steam power.
Britain was a great place for the Industrial Revolution to occur in. The climate was suitable for raising sheep, which made textiles of wool, linen, and cotton. The demand for coal was one more reason Britain was a prime location for the Industrial Revolution. Coal was more effective and longer lasting and would replace wood for the long term. The development of steam power would also give Britain a leg up from countries such as China, which was a highly developed society.
We are now going to look closely at the fathers of the Industrial Revolution.
Before the Industrial Revolution occurred, around 80% of people lived in rural areas, but as the demand of jobs increased, so did the amount of people. People like Richard Arkwright, Jethro Tull, and James Watt would lay the foundation for a successful Industrial Revolution.
One of the first inventions that would make a major impact on farmers today was invented by Jethro Tull. This tool allowed him to plant seeds more easily and efficiently. The enclosure movement would soon be a major impact on the amount of farmers moving to the city. The enclosure movement was the process of landowners combining small fields to create large farms, which forced farmers to leave because they could not make enough money.
Now it's time for the thought bubble.
Richard Arkwright also came to be a very prominent figure in the Industrial Revolution. He improved the carding system, which created stronger yarn and less manual work, although he would employ thousands of children to work in his factories. Then a man with an incredible amount of integrity, James Watt, perhaps the father of one of the most important inventions, the steam engine, came along. He decided to add a water condenser to Thomas Newcomen's invention, which would in return gain him all the fame. Together, James Watt and Matthew Boulton would create a steam engine with a rotary motion that ran on coal. In the later part of the Industrial Revolution, the first commercial telegraph system was made for the railroads.
Thank you, thought bubble. The Industrial Revolution led to urbanization. There was an increased amount of libraries, universities, and better diet than our middle-class society. Overall, the middle class benefited the most out of the Industrial Revolution, although this urbanization would also lead to overcrowding in cities and eventually lead to diseases. In fact, we have a picture in the back that represents the dirty and polluted areas of the city.
But first, what's in the secret compartment? It's a picture of a doctor. It's a doctor. Dear doctors, in the Industrial Revolution, your medieval tactics toward curing diseases such as cholera and tuberculosis led to more deaths. Your medical advice to cure diseases suggested vomiting, bleaching, and all the above, which would lead to dehydration and then eventually kill them faster than the disease.
The Industrial Revolution could have definitely been better. Disease killed thousands of people, the streets were overcrowded, and many people lacked proper sewage systems and diets.
Child labor also occurred in this time period. Many children were used in factories because they were cheap to pay and would never go on strike. Many people worked in factories, such as the one behind me.
Now let's talk about the life expectancy in the Industrial Revolution and the population of Europe. The life expectancy did not rise above 35% or drop below 25%. Europe's population was small before the Industrial Revolution, and they needed more inventions to cut down the intensive labor. So as the Industrial Revolution grew bigger, the population would increase. At the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the population was around 700 million, but during the Revolution, the population would rise to around 1 billion.
Some British people thought it began in Europe because they had believed that it was superior to other nations. They also thought that Europe had the culture of science and invention for this to be possible. The main reason it started there was because of the amount of coal Europe had, and they also had a higher wage. Coal was easier to access because the invention Thomas Newcomen invented. His invention drained water from coal mines to make it easier to mine coal.
In 1908, the first Model T car was made by the Ford Motor Company. This company was made by Henry Ford. The Model T car was the first automobile accessible to everyday people. The invention of the car changed the world as we know it. The automobile allowed people to go anywhere they wanted in a shorter amount of time compared to horse-drawn carriages and railroads.
One of the most famous inventions invented in the Industrial Revolution was the telephone. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1876 and received his patent for the telephone on March 7th of 1876 and made his first phone call 3 days later to his assistant.
Thanks for watching Crash Course. We'll see you next week.